Hey guys, this is Bumblebee85 coming at you with another video review. I'm going to jump back in with Transformers. This is a Transformer from Titan's Return, Grax and Skullsmasher. He is an updated mold of the original Headmaster, Grax, and Skullcruncher. For some reason they don't have the right Skullcruncher, so they call him Skullsmasher. Now, like I said, it's the Titan's Return Transformer Generations from Hasbro. This is his box. Transforms in 11 steps. And these are the updated forms of Headmasters, where the little head actually transforms into a robot and actually kind of like wanders around, and we can swap this head with other characters, like it actually shows on the back of his box. His head works with various size Transformers from the Deluxe class, which is Skullsmasher, up into Voyager classes, which would be Galvatron, and even it works with the Leader classes, which are even a larger size toy. Actually, this is a Leader class Power Master Prime. All these heads can be swapped between the different characters. Here's a Blur. And like I said, all these heads can be swapped. It's an interchangeable play pattern that they have brought to the Transformers table. And you can even buy the individual little heads that this guy will form, this head basically. And I could put this head on that body, or vice versa. So, neat little play feature that the Transformers have come up with. It's under the Titan's Return banner. And here's a little write-up. You can read that without the glare. There you go. You can pause that now and read that. This bio will actually have something to do with my enjoy the play at the end. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video where I do a little stop motion or skit or something with the actual toy that I'm reviewing. So read this bio carefully and something will happen relating to that story. So let me bust him open here and see what he's got going on. Now here is Skullsmasher out of the package. First off, he does come with the instructions. Sometimes the instructions are kind of hard to follow. I hate like how it's a dark background with the gray shaded figure. And then purple highlighted for the parts that have to move. Sometimes it can be hard to see. It actually, the gray is showing up a lot lighter on camera than it is in person. So some things are hard to see. But he does come with this card, which is a nice artwork showing the Headmaster sliding on or sliding off. And he does have abilities: strength, speed, intelligence, and firepower. The lines with the red are what Skullsmasher is before Grax actually joins him, and then Grax makes the blue lines, so he becomes even more powerful. So that's his card. Nice. I like how the bios are, or like how the stat card is coming with some art. So there's a reason to keep it not just with an art image or with nothing on him at all. So I like that. Now he does come out of the package like this. There's a little bit of work you had to do. Like I had to flip down his toes. They were stuck up in the package, and there was a huge elastic band wrapped around from his waist, wrapped right around the front of his head here, and it was just holding him together, I guess. He does come with his tail part here, which I'll show off a little bit later. He does come with this laser pistol gun, and his head is actually a detached alligator head, open with some nice scaly tongue in there. Like this should be clipped on to the back. There's no reason why that can't stay clipped on to his back like that. And then he does hold his pistol in either hand. It's fine. And then there is the fold out hand clip there, or peg there, which fits also into the hand that way, or it shows on the directions it going in his hand that way. So I guess it's more like a shield, I suppose. So he does look a lot like his older G1 counterpart, especially in the colors. I like the pink and the green. They counter each other very nicely, and the gray splits it up a little bit. But let's go over his articulation. Now his shoulders are on a ball joint, a simple ball joint, with the joint actually being recessed a little bit into his shoulder. Let's just remove these weapons so they get out of the way here. And his legs fall off, which I've heard is a problem. He has very loose hips. But yeah, like I was saying, his shoulder ball joint is recessed into his shoulder a little bit, so you don't get as much range of movement as you would hope from the figure. Obviously his head is on a ball joint or peg little thing you do to the actual head of the robot's head. So I'll show you it off in a second. But he does have an upper bicep swivel, so you can rotate there, a single hinged elbow, and then he does have another swivel just past the elbow, and his wrists are on a hinge here, but that's due to transformation, and they're a little loose. They for holding the weapon, they do collapse in a little bit. He does have a waist swivel, ball jointed hips, which are very loose and easily pop right off. There is the upper thigh cut there, single hinge knee. Actually, it's a double hinge knee, technically. There are two hinges in there, and a little bit of toe articulation. So that's pretty much it for the articulation in robot mode. So let's just compare him a little bit to some other figures, more his size. We have Dead End here. These are the Combiner War figures. And he does come up a little bit taller than Dead End, so that's nice. The only other Headmaster toy that I have is Generations Voyager class Brainstorm. He's definitely taller, but I'm wondering if the heads are compatible or not. We'll adventure with that after. And the other two alligator toys that I do have, Terragator and Beast Wars original Megatron. These are all alligator figures. Now supposedly could be coming out a repainted. Skullsmasher is supposed to be coming out as a repaint for this Megatron figure down the line. So definitely would love to check that out. So for Skullsmasher's transformation, going to first off remove his head. Grax is the head, and he just pops right off the top. Simply pops right off. And for his transformation, you simply flip down his legs from his front. Basically, they just flip right up, and this little head, Grax's head, is on this ball joint, which gives the ball jointed head to the actual Skullsmasher figure. So yeah, simply flip them down. They're on a two hinge. There's a hinge at the knee, a hinge at the hip. His arms are on a hinge that you can actually pose. They just flip straight out, and the head is on a super mini ball joint. So I don't know how well you've gotten that. And the head is just a backpack. That is his head basically, and the legs flip, and that's the head. That's Grax. And that's going to be every single Headmaster will basically transform the same way. So we'll put him over to the side. Actually, first I'll quickly show off. Grax can sit in the tail weapon here, just sits right in, nice and snug. He'll stay sitting in there, and you can take the tail weapon, or the tail, and this weapon actually plugs into the bottom of the tail when attached to Skullsmasher, and he can ride around like that, and even Skullsmasher can hold it, or other Titan Returns figures can actually hold on to him and control him as a weapon. So that's a neat little thing. That's that. On to Skullsmasher's actual transformation. We're going to, well, first off, I'll tell you, his wrists are really weak. His left side pegs in a little tighter, just clips. You actually hear the little clip. And the same with these toes. They'll go up, and then you push a little further, and there's a little click. His left side has a really weak wrist joint. It doesn't really snap in as much, and even his toes don't snap in as much as they do on his other hand. But you're supposed to flip his feet or his hands in, pull down his feet, and that's his arm transformation. You take his shoulders, you push them up like so, and you give him a little bit of an angle. So you push both shoulders up and give a little bit of an angle, and you can simply take the back. It's on this double hinge, and you take it, and there's two little notches on his shoulders that you want to line up with the pegs on the neck here from robot mode, or from beast mode, and you push those in, and those lock the shoulders in place. Then you can rotate these bicep swivels and angle out his feet to lay flat along the ground. So with his legs, you flip in his toes, and then you're going to want to try and actually probably put the legs together first, because the hips will just pop off with any kind of stress at all. There are notches lined up with the legs. If you can get those, together without the hips popping off, then you're a step ahead. Then you can simply rotate the whole thing in one giant piece, push it right in. There's nothing that it clips into at all. It just kind of sits there. It gives a little hip swivel for the alligator. And his legs, there is a little notch that these legs sit into. Simply just push them out a little bit. There's no articulation to the leg except for at the hip joint of the leg. There's no knee bending portion of the leg. So that is what he basically transforms into. And then you take his tail, and on this little notch here, just simply plugs into this hole here, and you put that in like so. So you can place his feet flat along the ground, and then you have Skullcruncher in beast mode. Now in this mode, his tail has a bit of articulation because it's on that peg, which is kind of cool, but if you wiggle it too much, it will just pop right off. Could have been a little snugger. But then he does also have the hip articulation, so you can get some like action poses. His hips, his back legs are on this single ball jointed articulation point there, and then he retains his bicep swivel with the elbow and the rotation and the toe crunch all on his front legs. And then his head is on a super articulated ball joint. It's really nicely done, the range of movement that you get out of this ball jointed head. And there is a nice hinge joint for opening and closing of the mouth. And I really like the look of this alligator mode. Like, you get some really cool shots out of this mode. Like, I can't believe the range of movement you get out of this alligator. It's very surprising. His tail does pop off fairly easily. You just plug that back on. But Grax does fit into the top, there is a compartment for Grax to actually sit in, so that you don't have to just keep him off to the side. You can actually fit inside Skullcruncher here, and you just put him in his little seat forming pose. You stick him inside and you close that, and this top piece it's like a very soft plastic. It's very bendable, so you can easily just plug that in there, and he's stored with inside Skullcruncher. So I'm very happy with the colors, the overall design of the toy. I wish maybe there was a hinge in these back legs. Would have been the beast mode would have been perfect if there was a hinge within these back legs. You get some nice Decepticon logos there, and one on the top of his alligator head. And here's a look underneath. But I love the contrast with the pink and the green. It's a very weird combination of colors, and it works really, really, really well. I will mention the instructions don't mention that Grax actually just fits right inside, or even rides on inside the tail. It never gives any hint to any of that information on the instructions at all. But that is part of the playability with these figures. I guess it's meant to figure that out. And actually with Grax, he has 2 peg holes on the bottom of his feet, which are kind of cool. And throughout the Titan Masters figures, from the large Fortress Maximus to the Leader class and Voyager, even other deluxes, they have little pegs throughout the figure. If you notice, there's a little peg sticking out of his paw there, and you can actually peg these figures on. So you can have them standing throughout the figures, make him, with Fortress Maximus, he's a city transformer. So having these pegs all throughout his body and having these little robots walk around on him really make it look like a city mode. So that is a really cool feature with the Titan Master figures. So, and I really like, these are the headmasters that are actually supposed to be headmasters. There's a few that are coming out, like Blur that I have. He's not a headmaster, but they gave him the headmaster gimmick. So anybody that's an actual headmaster, I'm all for. Comparison in alligator mode compared to some of the other alligators and deluxe dead end there. I will say with the head dangling off the back, he does become a little back heavy, so you have to watch that. And this is the Voyager headmaster that we had with Brainstorm here, and his head will not fit within the current Titan Master wave. This is my first headmaster, Titan Master, and overall I like him. I like that we're getting updated forms of the Transformers that we haven't had before. But he looks fantastic, so I can't wait to get more Titan Masters. In the end, I recommend him, but his hips are his biggest downfall. If you can get past the hips, get him in a pose. If you're just going to put him on the shelf, he might not be a good toy to actually play around with. But that's my review of Titan Masters, Skullsmasher, and Grax. So I hope you guys enjoy the play.
As the ever-increasing drought continues, more and more animals venture down to the only water source remaining in the hot, hot sun. Let's watch as this weary warthog ventures down to the water, for his thirst is taking over him. He is hesitant and only takes a quick step back, but gathers his strength and goes in for a sip of water. He continues to keep his eyes locked on the alligator meters away. The alligator strikes fast and fierce, but missing his only opportunity.
Hey, Skullsmasher there, buddy. I have to be inside of you to make you invisible.
Aw, nuts. I always forget that part.
Now we can't eat for another week. I don't know how you guys lasted millions of years without me. Now go take your place again. We'll start over.
Sorry, Grax. Now you don't see that every day now, do you?